Hikaru, a huge congratulations for the win today. Winning with black against Pragg, who's been very solid in this tournament, must have been a very good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite nice to get a win after the disaster that the World Cup was when I lost him in this tiebreaker. But I think more than that, I was just trying to get something out of the opening with a little bit of a surprise. It was quite nice, actually, because he walked into something that I prepared quite a while before the tournament. And I mean, I think the position was always somewhat balanced, but somewhere in the late middle game, I got the sense that he was starting to either feel nervous or he thought he was better. And I had this feeling he was going to try to keep the game going, and that was a big mistake because once I got this knight d5 and f5 in, I know the computer, of course, says it's no big deal and it's completely fine, but for a human, I think it's very hard, especially with time pressure. So I did pretty much everything I wanted to do, and he kind of cracked under the pressure.
There was a very interesting moment at the start of the game. We had Evgeny Barev come in, and at that point, he asked Pragg what move he wants to play, and Pragg mentioned d4. It was like 1 minute to the start. Were you able to hear it? Because
yeah, I mean, I did hear it, but you also never know what the first move is going to be, whether someone's going to stick with the move or change. I mean, it does happen. So I did hear it. I mean, I was actually quite happy because I knew that I was going to have a surprise ready for him, and yeah, that's pretty good.
And this surprise which you have created, I mean, you've shown great ideas in so many games, like with Nepo here, and this is something which professional players are able to have, you know, this bag full of new ideas when you are coming here. How are you able to sort of have so many ideas, you know?
Well, I mean, the first thing is it's not a completely new idea because I did play it against Magnus Carlsen, the Chess Champions Tour. But of course that was rapid, so a little bit of a different situation. I think the main thing is my philosophy is just to try and play things that are a little bit different. It might be a little bit dubious like what I did against Fabiano, but in general, I think the element of surprise matters a lot. And I've said this a few times already today, but I think there's this huge shift. If you look at chess, probably I want to say from about 2010-ish to maybe like just about the pandemic or maybe a little bit before that, everybody was playing the same openings. You had the Berlin, some Petrovs, you had the Queen's Gambit Klein, which was played a lot in some of the candidates tournaments. But now it feels like everybody's shifting because with computer programs, you can pretty much play anything and sort of get away with it as long as you know what you're doing. And I think that's sort of this big shift that's happening with the younger generation. And I think even beyond the candidates tournament, you're going to see a lot of players taking chances, playing a lot of different openings, and these surprises happening much more. And it's probably overall a good thing for chess because ultimately nobody wants to see those boring Berlins and everything else.
And yesterday you played the title Tuesday, but I was very surprised that 3 more candidates played, especially with it. And this, maybe everyone's starting to sort of feel like what you are doing perhaps is maybe a good way to approach events.
Well, I mean, I think the main thing is, first of all, Title Tuesday, it's a much different tournament in the last year or a little over a year, ever since Magnus basically started playing in the tournament. I mean, before that, I felt like probably the first 7-8 rounds, maybe I played some like 2,600, 2,650 players. But now, you know, Magnus plays it, so it's very legitimate, and all the top players play. I mean, I remember, like, maybe it was a month ago, I had some terrible score. I think like 6 out of 8 or 6.5 out of 8 points. I mean, it's completely fine, but it's not great. And then I had to play black against Dominguez, and it's one of those examples of like, I mean, I'm not even winning the tournament, and I have to play 2,750 players. So because of that, I think a lot of players are going to get good experience playing against the top guys, and I think that makes a huge difference. And I mean, I think it also helps you stay very sharp. So the fact that there's so many strong players in the event, I think it's very good preparation.
And we saw you yesterday walking out with your stepfather. Is he here towards the end of the event to support you? Or?
I mean, I guess he's here, but I mean, I haven't seen him since I had dinner the other night. So I mean, I have my routines. I mean, my family's around, but nothing's really going to change until the end of the event.
And finally, in one of your recaps, you had mentioned that Atousa, your wife, has been a big support to you. Could you tell us a bit of how that has been a support?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is that generally speaking, obviously I've changed over the years, especially since the pandemic, but I think generally I'm someone who's more on the serious side, or perhaps too serious at times, and she's generally, you know, a lot calmer, a lot more relaxed, and I think that's a very good balance, because when you're around someone who's always in a good mood, it's much easier to sort of not take things seriously. And I mean, it would have been very easy after I lost the game to Vida to kind of fall apart. In fact, frankly, you could have said that after round 2 as well. But I mean, when you're around someone who's always in a good mood and, you know, and always making you laugh, it's a good reminder they're more important things in life.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hikaru, for your time.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's Thank you very much. Thank you. So yeah, one second.
Excuse me, can I take it? No, she's not. She's here.
Yeah, I do.
We can see. Please, please. Give me the photo. Thank you very much. Good luck. Please, this picture. I already signed it. Okay, okay.